The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched out like a massive dome under the stars. 12 different alien races sat in their special seats, each one designed for their unique bodies. The air was thick with tension as they prepared to make a decision that would change everything. Ambassador Lee Dae-ho from Earth sat quietly in the human section. His dark suit looked simple compared to the colorful robes and strange armor worn by the alien representatives. He kept his face calm, but inside his heart was beating fast. Today, the galaxy would decide if humans were allowed to stay free or not. The Vorthak Empire had called this meeting. They were tall, gray creatures with 4 arms and eyes that glowed red in the dark. Their leader, Chancellor Morthex, stood up from his metal throne. His voice was deep and scary when he spoke. "Fellow members of the Council," Morthex began, "we are here to discuss the human problem. These creatures from the small planet called Earth have become too dangerous. In only 50 years, they have spread to 17 star systems. They build colonies faster than any race we have ever seen." Lee Dae-ho did not move. He had been expecting this for months. Earth's leaders knew this day would come. Humans had been growing too fast, taking too many planets. The older alien races were getting scared. Speaker Glunash from the Hydran Collective rose next. The Hydrans lived in water and looked like giant squids with smooth blue skin. When Glunash spoke, water bubbled from special holes in his suit. "The humans have damaged 3 of our sacred water worlds," Glunash said, his voice making wet sounds. "They dig deep holes in our holy places. They take metals and crystals without asking permission. Our children cannot swim in clean water anymore because of their machines." More alien voices joined in. The Zilani Federation was made of creatures that looked like living crystals. Their representative, mind singer Kethara, made musical sounds instead of words. A translation device turned her song into speech. "Humans change too fast," the translation said. "Their technology grows in ways we cannot predict. Yesterday they had simple ships. Today they have weapons we do not understand. Tomorrow, what will they have? We must stop them before they become too strong." One by one, the alien races spoke against humanity. They talked about human colonies that appeared overnight. They worried about human ships that moved too fast through space. They feared human minds that solved problems in ways that made no sense to them. Lee Dae-ho finally stood up when they gave him permission to speak. The hall became quiet. All eyes turned to the small human in his simple black suit. "Honored council members," Lee Dae-ho said, his voice steady and calm. "Humans have always tried to be peaceful neighbors. We trade fairly with all races. We have never attacked anyone who did not attack us first. Yes, we grow fast, but we are young. We have much to learn from older civilizations like yours." But his words did not help. The council had already made up their minds. Chancellor Morthex smiled, showing sharp teeth. "The time for talk is over," Morthex said. "We have decided. Humans must give up all colonies outside their home system. They must return to their small planet Earth and stay there. They will be watched to make sure they do not spread again." The hall filled with agreeing sounds from the alien representatives. Lee Dae-ho felt cold inside, but he kept his face calm. "What if we refuse?" he asked quietly. Morthex's red eyes glowed brighter. "Then we will force you. The Vorthak Empire has 2,000 warships ready. The Hydran Collective has added their fleet of 1,500 vessels. The Zilani Federation brings 1,000 crystal ships. Together with our other allies, we have more than 10,000 ships ready to fight." The numbers hit Lee Dae-ho like a physical blow. 10,000 ships against humanity's small fleet of maybe 300 vessels. It was impossible. There was no way Earth could win such a fight. Far away from the council meeting, Captain Park Hae-jin stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force cruiser Seoul's Pride. The ship was old and had seen many battles, but it was still strong. Park Hae-jin was a small woman with short black hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we're getting a message from the council chambers." Park Hae-jin watched the message appear on her screen. As she read the alien ultimatum, her face grew dark with anger. They wanted humanity to give up everything they had worked for. They wanted humans to crawl back to Earth like beaten dogs. Send this message to Earth Command immediately, she ordered. Priority 1. Back on Earth, the message reached the office of Strategic Defense Coordinator Kim Tae-min within minutes. Kim was a tall man with gray hair who had been planning Earth's defense for 20 years. He read the message twice, then picked up his secure communication device. Get me President Choi Mi-young, he said. Emergency meeting in 10 minutes. President. Choi Mi-young was in her garden when the call came. She was a small woman who loved growing flowers, but she was also the strongest leader Earth had ever known. When she heard about the Council's ultimatum, she did not panic. She had been preparing for this day for a long time. How long do we have? She asked Kim Tae-min when they met in the secure conference room. 72 hours, Kim replied. They want all our people off the colony worlds by then. President Choi sat quietly for a moment thinking. Around the table sat the most important people in Earth's government. They all looked worried and scared. 10,000 alien ships was more than anyone had imagined. We have to accept, said Defense Minister Pak Jong-soo. We cannot fight so many ships, it would be suicide. But if we give up our colonies, we will be trapped on Earth forever, argued Foreign Minister Yoon Hai-won. They will control everything we do. President Choi raised her hand for silence. There is someone we need to talk to before we decide, she said quietly. She pressed a button on her desk. The lights in the room dimmed and a new person appeared on the main screen. It was Admiral Yoon Seok-jin, but he was not on any Earth ship that appeared in official records. Madam President, Admiral Yoon said, his voice coming through clearly, I have been monitoring the council meeting. It is time. The people around the table looked confused. They did not understand what the Admiral meant. Only President Choi and Kim Tae-min knew the truth. Are you certain? President Choi asked. We have been ready for 3 years, Admiral Yoon replied. Protocol 7 is active. All units are in position. President Choi nodded slowly. Then she turned to the confused ministers and generals around the table. Tell the Galactic Council that we accept their terms, she said calmly. We will evacuate our colonies within 72 hours. The room exploded with angry voices. How could she give up so easily? How could she surrender everything humanity had built? But President Choi just smiled a small, secret smile. She knew something the others did not know. She knew something the aliens definitely did not know. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what they were really capable of. Far out in space, beyond where any alien sensors could reach, Admiral Yoon Seok-jin looked at the stars and began to give orders that would change everything. The galaxy thought it knew humanity. The galaxy thought humans were just another weak race that could be pushed around. The galaxy was about to learn how wrong it was. The evacuation began exactly as the Galactic Council wanted to see. Human transport ships left their colonies one by one, moving slowly toward Earth like a defeated army returning home. The alien monitoring stations recorded every ship that left, counting them carefully to make sure no humans tried to hide. But the aliens were not looking closely enough. Commander Jang Soo-bin watched the evacuation from her secret station hidden inside what looked like a broken asteroid. Her monitoring post had been disguised as mining equipment for 15 years. To any alien scanner, it looked like humans had been digging for metals and then abandoned the place. They had no idea that Jang Soo-bin and her team had been watching them the whole time. Commander, her assistant called out softly. We're getting the activation signal. Jang Soo-bin looked at her screens. Across the galaxy, dozens of similar hidden stations were coming to life. They had been waiting for this moment for years. Now it was time to do their real job. Begin transmission sequence 7 Alpha, she ordered. Send the wake-up call. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. The signal went out into deep space to coordinates that appeared on no star map that aliens had ever seen. Hidden ships that had been sleeping for years began to stir. Their computers turned on. Their crews woke up from long hibernation. The galaxy was about to discover that humans had been much busier than anyone knew. On Earth, in a place that looked like peaceful farmland, Dr. Han Bo-ra walked through what appeared to be a simple agriculture research center. Green plants grew in neat rows under artificial lights. To anyone watching, it looked like scientists were just trying to grow better food. But Dr. Han Bo-ra was not really a farmer. Li Jinwoo, she called to her young assistant. Come with me. It's time you learned what we really do here. Li Jinwoo was confused. He had worked at the agriculture center for 2 years. He thought they were developing new types of rice and vegetables. Dr. Han told him they were trying to feed the growing human colonies. They walked to an elevator that Li Jinwoo had never seen before. Dr. Han pressed her hand against a scanner, and the elevator doors opened. They went down, 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 much deeper than Li Jinwoo thought was possible. When the doors opened again, Li Jinwoo's mouth fell open in shock. The underground space was enormous. It stretched out farther than he could see. But instead of plants, there were machines, huge machines that hummed with power, assembly lines where robots built things that looked like spaceship parts, workers in clean white suits who moved with the speed of people who had been doing secret work for a long time. What is this place? Li Jinwoo whispered. Dr. Han Bo-ra smiled. This is what we've really been building for the last 30 years. While the aliens thought we were growing vegetables, we were growing something much more important. She led him to a viewing window. Below them, in a construction bay bigger than 10 football fields, something incredible was taking shape. It was a spaceship, but not like any Li Jinwoo had ever seen. It was massive and sleek, covered in armor that seemed to absorb light instead of reflecting it. One of 73 built here, Dr. Han said quietly. And this is just one of 47 facilities like this around the world. Li Jinwoo tried to do the math in his head. 73 ships from this place alone. 47 facilities. The numbers made his head spin. How long? He asked. We started planning the day we met our first alien race, Dr. Han replied. They seemed friendly, but we learned from our own history. Strong races often bully weak races, so we decided to become strong while letting everyone think we were weak. In space, the alien fleets moved into position. Vorthak Admiral Kekstar commanded the largest battle group. His ships spread out at the edge of the solar system, ready to make sure humans obeyed the Council's orders. Admiral Kekstar was proud and confident. His gray skin was covered with scars from many battles. He had defeated 12 different races in his long career. Humans would be easy compared to his previous enemies. How many human ships do our sensors detect? He asked his tactical officer. 247 vessels, Admiral, came the reply. Most are old cargo ships and small patrol craft. Nothing that could threaten us. Admiral Kekstar nodded, with satisfaction. Even if all the human ships attacked together, his fleet alone could destroy them, and he was just one of many alien fleets watching human space. But deep in a hidden facility that had been carved inside a dead moon, Fleet Admiral Song Kyung-ho was preparing to prove Admiral Kekstar very wrong. Song Kyung-ho was an old man now, with white hair and deep lines around his eyes. He had been in charge of humanity's real defense plans for 30 years. While other humans served on the ships everyone could see, Song Kyung-ho commanded the ships no one knew existed. All hidden bases report ready status, his communications officer announced. The Ghost Fleet is awakening. Song Kyung-ho nodded. The Ghost Fleet, that's what they called it among themselves. Ships that existed but didn't exist. Crews that had trained for war while the galaxy thought they were training for peace. Send the activation codes, Song Kyung-ho ordered. It's time for the galaxy to meet the real human navy. Across known space, things that had looked like empty space began to change. Stealth fields that had hidden enormous ships for years started to power down. What aliens had thought were asteroids began to move and reshape themselves. Places where sensors showed nothing suddenly became very crowded, but the aliens didn't notice yet. They were too busy watching the obvious human ships, counting them and feeling superior about their overwhelming numbers. On the transport ship Busan Morning, Captain Lim Jae-sung watched his sensors carefully. His ship was carrying evacuating colonists from the human world of New Jeju. To alien observers, he was just another defeated human captain following orders. But Captain Lim had other orders too. Secret orders that came from Admiral Yoon Suk-jin himself. We're approaching checkpoint. Delta 7, his navigator reported. Execute course correction plan whisper, Captain Lim ordered quietly. To outside observers, the transport ship just made a small adjustment to avoid some space debris. But that tiny change in course took them exactly where they needed to be. In a place where 3 star systems met, where sensor coverage was weak, where a very large ship had been waiting for 30 years. Similar scenes played out across human space. Transport ships made small course corrections. Mining vessels reported engine problems and drifted into empty areas. Survey ships took detours to investigate interesting rocks. None of it looked suspicious. All of it was part of a plan. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council celebrated their victory. In the Great Hall, alien representatives congratulated each other on forcing humanity to submit without firing a shot. Perhaps we were too worried about these humans, said Speaker Glunash. They accept defeat very easily. Agreed, replied Mindsinger Kithara through her translation device. They show wisdom in not fighting a battle they cannot win. Chancellor Morthex was the most pleased of all. Let this be a lesson to any young race that thinks they can challenge the established order. The galaxy has rules, and we enforce them. But Ambassador Li Deho said nothing. He sat quietly in his chair, watching the alien celebrations with calm eyes. Occasionally, he checked a small device hidden in his sleeve. The device showed him readiness reports from all across human space. 93% ready, 97% ready, 100% ready. Li Deho touched a hidden button. Far away, Admiral Yoon Seok Jin received a simple message. The package is ready for delivery. The 72-hour deadline was almost over. In a few more hours, the aliens expected to see the last human ships leaving their colonies, returning to Earth with their tails between their legs like beaten dogs. Instead, they were about to see something that would make them question everything they thought they knew about war, power, and the small blue planet called Earth. The galaxy had demanded to see humanity's true strength. They were about to get exactly what they asked for. The 72-hour deadline came and went with no sound, no warning, no dramatic speech. One moment the galaxy was normal. The next moment, everything changed forever. It started as a ripple in space near the Vorthak home system. Admiral Kextar's sensor officer stared at his screen in confusion. The readings made no sense. Empty space was showing mass readings. Lots of mass readings. Sir, the sensor officer called out, his voice shaking. I'm detecting something impossible. Admiral Kextar walked over to look at the displays. What he saw made his forearms go cold with fear. Space was bending and twisting like water, and from those twists in reality, shapes were emerging. Ships. Enormous ships. The first vessel to fully appear was twice the size of Admiral Kextar's flagship. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, and covered with armor that seemed to drink in starlight. Weapons ports lined its sides like the eyes of some ancient monster. And it was beautiful in the way that predators are beautiful, perfectly designed for hunting. Then more ships appeared, and more, and more. How many? Admiral, Kexter whispered. His sensor officer's voice cracked as he answered. I count over 300 vessels, sir, and they're still coming. Captain Bae Young-soo stood on the bridge of his dreadnought, the Incheon Hammer. For 30 years, his ship had been hidden in the corona of a dying star, invisible to all sensors. The heat would have cooked any normal vessel, but human engineering had found ways to use that heat as power. Now the Incheon Hammer was free, and Captain Bae looked out at his enemy with calm, professional eyes. Communications, he ordered. Send Admiral Kextar our standard greeting. The message was simple and polite. Vorthak Fleet, you are in violation of human space. Please withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to remove you. Admiral Kextar stared at the message in shock. Human space? These were Vorthak systems. His people had owned these stars for 1,000 years. But as he watched, more human ships kept appearing, not just big ships like the one that had sent the message. Smaller, faster ships too. Fighters and bombers and strange vessels whose purpose he couldn't even guess. Sir, his tactical officer reported, The human vessels are taking formation. Around us, we're surrounded. The same scene was happening in 17 different star systems. Everywhere that alien fleets had positioned themselves to watch over human territories, hidden human ships were revealing themselves. Near the crystal worlds of the Zilani Federation, Admiral Kang Min-ho commanded a battle group of sleek white ships that had been hiding inside the gas clouds of a giant planet. His vessels moved like dancers, graceful and deadly. "Open a channel to all Zilani ships," Admiral Kang ordered. When the channel opened, his message was broadcast across the entire system. "Zilani Federation fleet, you are outnumbered and outgunned. Your crystal ships are beautiful, but they are also fragile. We suggest you withdraw before someone gets hurt." Mindsinger Cathara received the message aboard her crystalline flagship. The ship itself was alive, grown rather than built, and it sang with harmonies that could drive enemies. But as she looked at the human vessels surrounding her fleet, Cathara felt something she had never experienced before. Fear. The human ships were wrong somehow. They moved too smoothly, turned too quickly, and their energy readings were impossible. How had these primitive creatures built vessels that made her ancient living ships look like toys? In the depths of space, where the Hydran Collective had gathered their water-filled ships, Speaker Glunash watched human vessels emerge from what he had thought was empty space. These ships were different from the others. They seemed to flow, like liquid, their hulls rippling and changing shape. How? Glunash bubbled in confusion. How did they hide so many ships? Our sensors are the best in the galaxy. Engineer Shin Ira aboard the flagship Docto's Vengeance smiled as she checked her stealth systems. The Hydrans thought their sensors were the best, but they had never seen human technology. Humans had learned to bend light around their ships to make space itself forget they were there. "All systems at full power, Captain," she reported to her commanding officer. "Quantum reactors are stable at 112% of rated capacity." Her captain, Park Soo-jin, nodded. The quantum reactors were humanity's greatest secret. They produced more energy than should be possible, using science that the aliens thought was pure theory. But humans had always been good at making the impossible work. Across the galaxy, the hidden human fleet revealed itself, system by system. What the aliens had thought was humanity's entire navy, a few hundred old ships, turned out to be just the visible tip of an enormous iceberg. The real human fleet, numbered in the thousands. Admiral Yoon Seok-jin sat in his command center, watching reports flow in from across known space. Every human battle group was in position. Every secret base was active. Every hidden ship was ready for war. For 50 years, humanity had been preparing for this moment. While aliens thought humans were peaceful farmers and merchants, human engineers had been building the most advanced war fleet the galaxy had ever seen. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender requests from 47 alien vessels. They're asking for mercy." Admiral Yoon nodded. Fear was a powerful weapon, and the aliens were learning to be afraid. But the real shock was still coming. "Open a channel to all alien fleets," Admiral Yoon ordered. "Galaxy-wide broadcast." When the channel opened, every alien ship in space could hear his voice. Every alien homeworld received his message. The entire galaxy stopped what it was doing to listen. "Citizens of the Galactic Council," Admiral Yoon said, his voice calm and friendly, "you wanted to see humanity's true strength. Now you have seen it. We have been hiding our real capabilities for 50 years, building our defenses while you thought we were weak." He paused, letting that sink in. "Our fleets are positioned around every major world in Council space. We could end your civilizations, within hours if we chose to do so. But we are not conquerors, we are defenders. We built this fleet not to attack others, but to protect ourselves." In the Galactic Council chambers, alien representatives sat in stunned silence. The humans had tricked them completely. While the Council had been planning to force humanity into submission, humanity had been preparing to defend itself on a scale no one had imagined. "We have 3 simple demands," Admiral Yoon continued. "First, you will recognize human sovereignty over our chosen territories. Second, You will end all discriminatory practices against human traders and travelers. Third, you will formally apologize for attempting to subjugate a peaceful species. Chancellor Morthex felt his red eyes dim with shock. The humans weren't even demanding tribute or territory. They just wanted to be left alone. What kind of species built a fleet capable of conquering the galaxy just to ask for basic respect? You have 12 hours to discuss our terms, Admiral Yoon concluded. We will wait for your answer. But remember, we are patient, not weak. We are peaceful, not helpless. We hope you choose wisdom. The message ended, leaving the galaxy in silence. On Earth, President Choi Mi-young stood in her garden looking up at the stars. Somewhere up there, human ships were showing the galaxy what humanity could do when pushed too far. She felt proud of her people, but also sad that it had come to this. Kim Tae-min joined her in the garden. The alien fleets are withdrawing from most systems, he reported. Some are already broadcasting requests for negotiation. President Choi nodded. Good. But remember, Tae-min, this was never about conquest. This was about survival. We showed them our strength, so we would never have to use it. Far above Earth, Captain Park Hye-jin received new orders aboard the Soul's Pride. Her old ship, which the aliens had thought was one of humanity's most powerful vessels, was actually one of the weakest in the real human fleet. But it was still her ship, and she was proud of it. Set course for home, she ordered. Our job here is done. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. Never mistake human patience for weakness. Never assume that a quiet species is a helpless species. And never, ever threaten a race that had climbed up from a world where everything tried to kill them. Humanity had revealed its hidden fleet, and the galaxy would never be the same. Panic spread through the Galactic Council like fire through dry grass. In every major alien system, impossible human fleets had appeared as if by magic. The beings who had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years suddenly found themselves helpless, surrounded by ships they had never seen before. Chancellor Morthex stood in his private chambers on the Vorthak homeworld, staring out at the night sky. Where once he had seen only familiar stars, now he saw the lights of human warships, dozens of them, hanging in space like deadly ornaments. His aide, Sub-Commander Veltar, entered the room with shaking hands. Chancellor, Veltar said, his voice barely a whisper. The humans have sent another message. Morthex did not turn around. What do they want now? They want to show us something. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room. The image showed Vorthak Prime from space, the beautiful gray and purple world that had been home to the Vorthak Empire for 3,000 years. Then the view changed, showing detailed scans of the planet's surface. Every city, every military base, every important building was marked with red dots. Numbers appeared next to each dot, showing exactly how much damage specific human weapons could cause. Admiral Ryu Dong-wook's voice came through the speakers, calm and polite as always. Chancellor Morthex, we wanted you to understand your situation clearly. Our ships could destroy your entire civilization in 4 hours and 27 minutes. We could target your military bases and leave your cities alone. Or we could target your cities and leave nothing alive. We have that power. The display showed more details. Human ships had mapped every important location on Vorthak Prime. They knew where the Chancellor's family lived. They knew where the government buildings were. They knew everything. But we choose not to use this power, Admiral Ryu continued. We prefer peace to war, cooperation to conquest. We hope you will make the wise choice and agree to our simple terms. The message ended, leaving Chancellor Morthex staring at the display in horror. How had the humans learned so much about his world? How long had they been watching? The truth was even more frightening than he knew. Human spy ships had been mapping alien worlds for 30 years, invisible to all sensors, learning every secret. The galaxy's great powers thought they had hidden. On the crystal world of Zelanos, Mindsinger Cathara faced her own nightmare. Human ships surrounded her homeworld like a swarm of metal insects. But these ships were different from the ones threatening the Vorthak. They moved in perfect formation, dancing through space in patterns that hurt to watch. Captain O.C. Young commanded the lead ship in the human formation. Her vessel, the Gwangju Symphony, was designed specifically to fight crystal ships. Its weapons created vibrations that could shatter living crystal, turning the beautiful Zalani vessels into powder. "Open a channel to the Mind Singer," Captain O ordered. When the connection was established, she spoke directly to Kathara's mind using technology the Zalani thought only they possessed. "Beautiful one," Captain O said, her thoughts flowing like music. "Your crystal ships sing wonderful songs, but they are fragile. Our instruments can create counter-harmonies that will break every crystal on your world. We do not want to do this. We want to learn your songs and teach you ours, but the choice is yours." Kathara felt the human captain's thoughts touch her mind, and what she found there terrified her. The human wasn't lying or bluffing. Her ships really could destroy every crystal on Zalanos. But more frightening was the sadness in the human's mind. She truly didn't want to cause harm. What kind of warriors felt sorry for their enemies? In the deep oceans of Hydrus Prime, Speaker Glunash huddled in his underwater city, watching human ships move through his world seas like they belonged. There, the ships flowed like living creatures, adapting to the water pressure and currents. Captain Lim Jae-sung commanded the aquatic assault group from his flagship, the Jeju Current. His ship was filled with water instead of air, designed to operate in the deepest oceans. When he spoke to Speaker Glunash, his words bubbled through the water between them. "Friend Glunash," Captain Lim said, "we have scanned your beautiful oceans. We know where your breeding grounds are, where your children learn to swim, where your elders go to die in peace. We could poison every drop of water on your world, or we could heat your seas until nothing lives in them." The display showed exactly how human weapons could destroy the delicate ocean ecosystems that the Hydrans needed to survive. "But we love the water too," Captain Lim continued. "Earth is mostly ocean, like your world. We understand how precious clean water is. We offer friendship instead of destruction. We hope you choose wisely." Back on Earth, General Yang Min-seok coordinated the massive operation from humanity's true command center. The base was built inside a hollow asteroid in Earth's Oort cloud, hidden so far from the sun that no alien had ever suspected its existence. For 40 years, General Yang had overseen the construction of humanity's secret defense network. He had watched human engineers solve impossible problems, human scientists discover new laws of physics, and human strategists plan for every possible threat. Now all that planning was paying off. "Sir," his aide reported, "we're receiving communication. Requests from all 12 council member races. They want to negotiate." General Yang smiled grimly. Of course they wanted to negotiate now. When they thought humans were weak, negotiation was impossible. Now that they knew humans were strong, suddenly everyone wanted to talk. "Not yet," General Yang said. "Let them worry for a while longer. Fear makes people think more clearly." The waiting was the worst part for the aliens. Human fleets hung in space around their homeworlds like swords waiting to fall. But the humans did nothing. They didn't attack. They didn't make threats. They just waited with the patience of predators who knew their prey had nowhere to run. In the council chambers, emergency meetings ran day and night. Alien representatives who had been so confident just days before now argued frantically about how to respond to the human ultimatum. "We have to surrender," argued the representative from the Klaxon hegemony. "They could destroy us all. But if we give in to humans, what happens when other young races see our weakness?" countered the Meridian delegate. "The entire galactic order could collapse." Ambassador Lee Dae-ho sat quietly through all the arguments, saying nothing. Sometimes other representatives tried to talk to him, to understand what humans really wanted. But Lee Dae-ho just smiled politely and said his government would announce their position when they were ready. Inside, he felt a mixture of pride and sadness. Pride that his people had achieved something impossible. They had outsmarted the entire galaxy. Sadness that it had been necessary at all. The breakthrough came when the Altarian Trade Federation broke ranks. They were merchants and traders, not warriors, and they understood numbers better than anyone. "We cannot win this fight," their representative announced to the council. "The humans have shown us fleets we never knew existed. They have technology we do not understand. They have planned this for decades while we thought they were harmless. We choose survival over pride. One by one, other alien races began to agree. The mathematics were simple and brutal. Humanity could destroy any of them or all of them whenever they chose. The only question was whether the aliens would choose extinction or cooperation. But the humans still waited. They had learned patience from their world, where survival meant knowing when to strike and when to hold back. Earth was a planet where the weather could kill you, where predators hunted in packs, where even the plants could be deadly. Humans had learned to think like their planet, dangerous when threatened, but preferring to avoid fights when possible. Finally, after 3 days of terror, the Galactic Council sent an official message to Admiral Yoon Seok-jin. "We are ready to discuss your terms," the message said simply. Admiral Yoon smiled as he read the words. It had taken 50 years of planning, 30 years of secret construction, and 3 days of demonstrated power. But finally, the galaxy was ready to listen to humanity. "Send the reply," he ordered. "Tell them we'll meet them in the council chambers in 24 hours, and tell them we're bringing gifts." The aliens didn't know what that meant, but they were about to find out that human gifts could be just as surprising as human weapons. The galaxy was about to learn that humans could be as generous in peace as they were terrible in war. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. 12 alien races sat in their special seats, but none of them looked powerful anymore. They looked like children who had been caught doing something wrong. Admiral Yoon Seok-jin walked into the hall wearing a simple blue uniform. He was not tall or scary looking. He was just an older human man with gray hair and kind eyes. But everyone in the room knew he commanded the most powerful fleet in galactic history. Behind him walked Ambassador Park Soo-jin, carrying a small box that made several alien representatives nervous. They had learned not to underestimate anything humans brought to meetings. Admiral Yoon took his place at the speaker's platform. He looked around the room slowly, making eye contact with each alien representative. His expression was calm and friendly, like a teacher talking to students. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," he began, his voice carrying easily through the huge chamber. 3 days ago, you issued an ultimatum to humanity. You demanded that we surrender our colonies and submit to your authority. Today, I am here to discuss new terms. Chancellor Morthex shifted uncomfortably in his metal throne. His red eyes had lost their glow. What are your demands, Admiral?" Admiral Yoon smiled. "Our demands are very simple. We want recognition of human sovereignty over the star systems we have chosen to inhabit. We want an end to discriminatory trade practices that favor certain species over others. And we want formal apologies for the attempt to subjugate a peaceful race." The alien representatives looked at each other in confusion. That was it? No tribute? No territory? No slaves or resources? Mind Singer Kithara's crystalline form chimed softly as she spoke. "You have the power to conquer us all. Why do you ask? For so little?" Admiral Yoon's expression became thoughtful. "Because, beautiful one, conquest was never our goal. We built our fleet to protect ourselves, not to rule others. We learned from our own planet's history that empires built on fear and oppression always fall in the end." He gestured to Ambassador Park, who opened the small box she carried. Inside were data storage devices containing detailed information. "We brought gifts," Admiral Yoon said. "Medical technology that could extend the lifespan of every species in this room. Agricultural techniques that could end hunger on a dozen worlds. Energy systems that could power your civilizations for centuries." Speaker Glunash bubbled in confusion. "You would share such technology with us? After we threatened you?" "Why not?" Admiral Yoon replied. "Knowledge grows when it is shared. We humans have a saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. When everyone becomes stronger and more prosperous, everyone benefits." This confused the aliens even more. In their experience, the strong hoarded their advantages and kept the weak dependent on them. But humans seemed to think differently. Chancellor Morthex leaned forward in his throne. "What guarantee do we have that you will not use your fleet against us in the future? Admiral Yoon considered the question seriously. You have the same guarantee we had when you threatened us, none at all. Power exists to be used. The question is how you choose to use it. He activated a holographic display that showed human space. Red dots marked the locations of human battle fleets, thousands of ships scattered across hundreds of star systems. Our fleet will remain active, Admiral Yoon said, but it will be used for defense and peacekeeping, not conquest. When pirates attack trade routes, we will stop them. When one species threatens to destroy another, we will intervene. When natural disasters strike, we will provide aid. The display changed to show recent events. Human ships rescuing survivors from a solar flare. Human medical teams fighting a plague on a remote world. Human engineers helping to repair a damaged space station. We have already begun this work, Admiral Yoon explained. Strength without purpose is meaningless. We choose to use our strength to protect those who cannot protect themselves. President Choi Mi-young entered the chamber, accompanied by several other human leaders. She walked with the quiet confidence of someone who knew her people had already won the only victory that mattered, the right to exist in peace. The Galactic Council will vote on humanity's terms, President Choi announced. But first, we want each member race to understand what we are offering. One by one, human experts explained the technologies they were willing to share. Dr. Han Bo-ra, no longer pretending to be a simple farmer, described medical nanobots that could repair genetic damage. Engineer Shin A-ra explained quantum reactors that produced unlimited clean energy. Captain Park Hye-jin outlined defensive systems that could protect entire planets from asteroid impacts. The aliens listened in growing amazement. These technologies were centuries ahead of anything they possessed. Humans could have used them to conquer the galaxy easily. Instead, they were offering to give them away. Why? Whispered the Altarian representative. Why would you share such advantages? Dr. Han Bo-ra smiled warmly. Because we are all in this together. This galaxy is our shared home. When your children are healthier, when your worlds are safer, when your people live longer and happier lives, that makes the galaxy a better place for everyone, including humans. The voting began immediately. There was no debate, no discussion, no complex negotiations. The choice was simple: accept humanity's generous terms or face the consequences of refusing. The Altarian Trade Federation voted first. We accept all human terms and formally apologize for our actions, their representative declared. The Hydron Collective followed quickly. Speaker Glunash bubbled his agreement and asked if humans would consider helping to clean pollution from Hydron breeding grounds. One by one, every member race voted to accept. Even Chancellor Morthex, his pride wounded but his intelligence intact, formally recognized human sovereignty and requested a trade agreement. The last to vote was mind singer Kethara. Her crystalline form sang a complex harmony as she spoke. The Zilani Federation accepts all terms, she said. But we have a question. Your species learns and grows so quickly. What will you become in another 100 years? Another 1,000? Should we fear your future evolution? Admiral Yoon thought about this carefully before answering. We will become whatever we need to become to survive and protect those we care about. But we will always remember that we started as a small species on a dangerous world, struggling to find our place among the stars. He looked around the chamber one final time. We hope that as we grow stronger, we will also grow wiser. We hope that as we reach for the stars, we will never forget to help others reach them too. The formal ceremonies took several hours. Apologies were given and accepted. Trade agreements were signed. Technology transfer protocols were established. The Galactic Council officially recognized humanity as a major power with full rights and privileges. But the real celebration happened later, in smaller meetings between human and alien representatives who were becoming friends instead of enemies. Dr. Han Bo-ra found herself deep in conversation with Zilani scientists who wanted to understand how human medicine could be adapted for crystalline biology. Captain Park Hye-jin shared navigation techniques with Hydron explorers who knew secret routes through deep space. Engineer Shin A-ra worked with Vorthak technicians to design better asteroid mining equipment. Knowledge flowed freely in all directions. Humans learned about Zelani music therapy, hydron water purification, and Vorthak metallurgy. In return, they shared their own discoveries in genetics, quantum physics, and stellar engineering. Ambassador Lee Dae-ho stood on the observation deck of the council station, watching human and alien ships working together to unload cargo and transfer personnel. Just a week ago, those same ships had been pointing weapons at each other. "It's amazing how quickly things can change," said a voice behind him. Lee Dae-ho turned to see Mindsinger Cathara approaching. Her crystalline form sparkled in the starlight. "Yes," Lee Dae-ho agreed, "but the change was always possible. We just needed to find the right way to communicate." "Your people fought an entire war without firing a shot," Cathara observed. "You achieved total victory through demonstration rather than destruction. It is elegant." Lee Dae-ho smiled. "We learned from our own history. The greatest victories are the ones where everyone survives to build something better." Months later, Dr. Han Bo-ra returned to her research facility on Earth, but now she really was growing food. New hybrid crops developed with alien agricultural techniques that could feed twice as many people using half the resources. She walked through her gardens, watching plants from a dozen different worlds growing side by side. Some had been gifts from grateful alien scientists. Others were the result of collaborative research projects. Her assistant, Lee Jin-woo, joined her among the plants. He was no longer confused about their work. He had become one of Earth's leading experts on multi-species agriculture. "The hydron. Seeds are sprouting faster than expected," he reported, "and the Zelani fruit trees are producing their first harvest." Dr. Han Bo-ra nodded, satisfied. "Good. Food has always brought people together. Now it can bring species together too." Far above Earth, the hidden moon base where Fleet Admiral Song Kyung-ho had commanded humanity's secret fleet was being converted into a training academy. Young humans and aliens would learn together, studying everything from advanced physics to interspecies diplomacy.